Hello, classmates, and Doc Mel Rovi here. And today I will discuss determining indicators of a project or program and developing an evaluation plan as part of Module 7. So, determining the indicators of a project or program is a critical process for assessing whether the objectives and outcomes of the plan are being met. So, indicators help measure progress, guide in decision making, and assess the effectiveness of the plan. Our reference material elaborated two types of indicators, and these are individual indicators and community level indicators. So these indicators are both metric types of indicators used to evaluate the impact of a program or plan, but they focus on different levels of measurement. So I'll also touch on quantitative and qualitative indicators, but the other reporters for this module will explain these two indicators further. So the first one is individual indicators. So these indicators focus on the specific changes or outcomes experienced by a person or group of individuals within a larger population. So these indicators are designed to measure the direct impact of a program or intervention on the behavior, knowledge, health, or even skills of an individual. So examples of individual indicators, we have knowledge or skill acquisition. So this is the increase in specific skills or knowledge due to training, like certifications achieved, test scores. Next is behavioral change. So changes in habits or behaviors, like a person quitting smoking after participating in a health program. Next is health outcome. So this is an improvement in the health status, like weight loss, lower blood pressure, better mental health. Next is satisfaction and engagement. So an individual's level of satisfaction with a service or a program. Um, Examples would be satisfaction surveys, customer feedbacks. Next is employment or income status. So changes in employment status or income level, like finding a job after completing a job training program. And lastly, personal development. So increase in self-confidence or motivation. And a good example would be a person feeling more empowered to take on challenges after participating in a leadership program. Next would be community level indicators. So these indicators, on the other hand, focus on the broader impact of a program on a group of people or a neighborhood or a specific community. So these indicators help assess the collective outcomes of a program on a larger population and are often used to evaluate social change, collective behavior, or community well-being. So examples of community level indicators, we have community health metrics. So the improvements in overall public health outcomes, such as reductions in disease rates or improvements in access to healthcare. Um, Next is social cohesion and engagement. So measures of community solidarity or social capital, such as the level of participation in community events, the strength of neighborhood networks, or increased civic engagement. Next is access to resources and services. So changes in the availability and accessibility of essential services, like more people accessing healthcare, education, or public transportation due to a new policy or program. Next is crime and safety rates. So changes in crime rates or perceptions of a safety in a community, often influenced by programs designed to improve community well-being. A good example would be the Safe Spaces Act. So there is a reduction in crime following a youth engagement initiative. Next is economic development. So indicators of economic growth or stability at the community level, such as increased local employment, improved infrastructure, or new businesses opening. And lastly, we have environmental changes. So improvements in the physical environment, such as reduced pollution, better public spaces, more greener areas due to community programs or environmental initiatives. So the key differences between individual and community level indicators in terms of scope. Individual indicators focus on the specific changes in an individual's life, while community level indicators reflect the collective changes or trends that affect a larger population. In terms of purpose, individual indicators are used to measure personal achievements, behaviors, or outcomes, whereas community level indicators assess broader social, economic, and environmental changes that affect the well being of a group or a community. In terms of impact, the impact of individual indicators is often more immediate and measurable in terms of a person's personal outcomes, while community level indicators are used to understand systemic or societal level changes. Both individual and community level indicators are essential for providing a comprehensive understanding of the effects of a program or intervention. Evaluating both helps capture the full scope of impact from personal transformations to broader societal shifts. So there's also what they call the quantitative and qualitative indicators, and these will further be discussed by another reporter from this module. But to give a short explanation about it, quantitative indicators, these are measurable data points such as percentage, numbers, or rates, like attendance numbers, sales figures, etc. Quantitative indicators provide hard data that is easy to track and compare over time. Next is qualitative indicators. So these reflect subjective outcomes such as perceptions, attitudes, or experiences. Examples would be stakeholder satisfaction, feedback, quality, and etc. Qualitative indicators provide deeper insights into the process and outcomes, but can be harder to measure. The next topic that I will talk about is developing an evaluation plan. So, developing an evaluation plan is a crucial step in assessing the effectiveness of a program or intervention. It provides a clear framework for how to measure outcomes, how to collect data, and analyze the results. So, at a minimum, an evaluation plan should answer several key questions as outlined in this table and as explained in our reference material as well. So, letter A, we have the question, what are the project's objectives and expected outcomes? So here you'll ask the question, what questions should be asked, what elements of the project worked, what elements did not work, what were some successes, what were some failures, what still remains to be done, what is the vision for the future, how has capacity been strengthened during the intervention, and which results obtained during the intervention are likely to be sustained or improved upon. For letter B, we have what information is needed to answer the above questions and how will the information be collected. So here you list the instruments and methods that will be used to collect the information such as repeated surveys, stories, drawings, uh, even role plays to present important milestones or events. We can also have in-depth interviews with project participants and observers, group discussions, rankings, and review of the project proposal. We also have reports and documents, those kinds of things. And for letter C, who will collect the information? It is more cost effective to use existing human resources and platforms, if possible, to collect information. We are also asking the question, what resources or materials will be needed? So here you need to list who needs support in collecting the information from different sources and what support do they need. For letter D, we have when will this information be collected? So here we need to create a timeline for data collection. Um, and I think that is it for me. Thank you everyone for staying with me. For my discussion questions, I have here two questions. The first one is, can indicators like individual and community level indicators, be used to predict the future success or a failure of a program? Please explain your answer. And for question number two, why is developing an evaluation plan an important process in a project or program? So here are my references, and thank you, everyone.